Well, welcome back, my friends, to another edition of Stirring It Up with Chair Monique, Kitchen Table Talk. And on today's political news, we have the Three Stooges stepping into the White House to cook up a diabolical plan with Professor Gadget to take over the world. Let's listen and talk about it on the other side.
Now for some perspective on what exactly is happening, I want to turn to retired U.S. Army Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, former Chief of Staff to Secretary of State Colin Powell. At one level, Colonel, again, this is in a story similar to many stories we've heard where the president has a crazy idea and people are trying to walk him away from it. In this case, though, it's hard to get your head around just how wildly dangerous and offensive it is. What is your reaction to what you have heard about this meeting and what the president's currently attempting to consider?
My first reaction, of course, is don't take counsel of your fears. We've just gone through one of the most incredible election sequences in our nation's history, certainly since World War II. More people voted by more methodologies in a pandemic environment, et cetera, et cetera. And I have to commend all those people out there in every state that work so hard to deliver a free and fair election. At the same time I say that, I have to say my fears are somewhat significant with a former Lieutenant General of the United States Army saying what Flynn said with regard to martial law and going to the battleground states and essentially reconducting the elections. Were I the Secretary of Defense, I'd call him back to active duty, which is in the prerogative of the Secretary of Defense, and I'd court-martial him. At a minimum, I'd cite him for incitement to insurrection. This is not something that a military officer should do. You serve until you're roughly 85 years old. It's half pay. It's not necessarily retired pay. You can be called back at any time. I got my letter from Secretary Rumsfeld when I was Chief of Staff to Secretary Powell. I was called back to active duty. I was judged in a critical position and didn't have to do it. But that's the power of the military over this general, and he needs to be rebuked. He needs to be reprimanded, and he needs to be done so officially, and that would be the best way to do it. These other people like Bannon and Powell and so forth, they're sycophants who are seeking whatever they can gain from the magic aura of this man before it dissipates. And it frightens me as to the things that they could do if the 25th Amendment or something like it is not implemented and we don't remove him from office. There's a lot of time left. When we worked on this at the Transition Integrity Project, we saw Trump do some pretty desperate things. One of the things that we saw him do that I'm not waiting eagerly to see if he fulfills it is he did everything he could possibly do, the team playing his team, to ruin Biden's first year in office. Everything from not allowing him to get cabinet officers confirmed because he had such a control that we've seen demonstrated over the Senate of the United States, to not allowing good transitions to take place. I understand from inside sources that those transitions are, for the most part, taking place, but they're taking place in some instances grudgingly, and that's not the way transitions should occur.
Yeah, your point about General Flynn, just to circle back to that for a moment, I find the general's trajectory here really unnerving. I mean, this is someone who was, celebrated, had a fairly sterling record. People thought he was an incredible intelligence officer, and he was the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency before he was essentially fired. And to watch someone who served and had this reputation and is known by a lot of people that work with him go on the trajectory he has, where he was essentially an unpaid agent of a foreign government, the Turkish government, which he did not disclose, and now, idly talking about martial law, it's a very unnerving trajectory.
It is. In my view, he's a disgrace to his uniform. And he's one of those examples, and I knew several of them when I was in the military, some 30 years plus. He's one of those examples of a person who gets squirreled away in a special community, in this case, special ops and also intelligence. And he grows up to flag rank, and no one really applies any adult supervision. And I include in that General McChrystal in Afghanistan when he worked for General McChrystal. I blame General McChrystal for putting him in the position that he's in right now to a certain extent. But these people come along and they get to the position where they really have some authority, in this case, much beyond the 3 stars, national security advisor almost, and they then show their true colors. And I think that's what Flynn is doing. Otherwise, I've got to pronounce him a psychotic or worse.
You seem unnerved, but also somewhat confident about the situation we're in, which I think tracks with where I am. I mean, again, there is a dwindling amount of power the president has. There's a kind of whiff of desperation. He's going to sort of more and more bizarre, crankish kind of voices. And yet, you know, the authority of the government still rests in the man's hands for 30 days. And we've been anticipating break glass moments. I don't think we've quite gotten one yet. But are you confident, basically, based on the reporting and also on what you know about the institutions, and particularly Department of Defense, that like he will not be allowed to do anything like he is contemplating?
There'll be nothing with the military. In my very strong view, the military will not do anything untoward, no matter what orders come from him. And indeed, if the orders were truly untoward, the 25th Amendment might be implemented. I don't see how people could stop from doing that. What worries me, Chris, right now, is the opportunistic advantage that's out there right now for a very hard pressed by COVID-19, North Korea, for example, Kim Jong-un, for a very pressured China with regard to what Taipei is doing and Taiwan in general, and in the situation with Iran where we have them just waiting. These are the kinds of things that Trump could leave as a blow to the country, and it would wind up being a significant blow to the country and to the new administration.
All right, my friends, that wraps it up for another edition of Kitchen Table Talk with Tierra Monique. So, what's your opinion about this situation? Should Mr. Flynn be court-martialed? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America. Bye.